Let's see. Jonathan has a question here. He sent me this question via message a little while ago. Hey Daniel, thanks for putting together these interesting videos. They're great and informative. I have a quick question, if you don't mind, regarding purchasing formal rental cars. Oh yes, this is good. All right. Given the amount of rental cars you've seen, would you recommend them as a reliable purchase? I know rental companies follow good maintenance schedules, but I'm concerned about how much potential damage their customers can inflict. I'm specifically considering a 2017 Fusion 2-liter all-wheel drive. Any comments, advice would be much appreciated. Thanks. Okay, here's the deal with used rental cars. I was in the same boat a while ago as well. I used to be scared of used rental vehicles. Stay away from them, because people are renting them, they're abusing them, right? Well, here's the thing you got to realize. Car rental fleets are going to maintain their vehicles very well. You may get some that may go overdue for oil changes a little bit, but you got to realize that these cars are on the road constantly. They rack up tons of miles in a very, very short period of time. So it's kind of like highway miles, so to speak. The other thing too, this is why I would actually recommend someone buying a used car from like Enterprise Car Sales, Hertz Car Sales, something like that. The reason being is because these companies buy a ton of vehicles from the manufacturers. They buy them, they keep them in the fleet for about a year or two, and then they sell them. The thing that these rental car companies do when they sell their cars under like Enterprise Car Sales or Hertz Car Sales, they are actually going to take the best of the best cars they have. They're going to take those cars and review the history of the vehicle. They can tell if they've been in any accidents, if there's been any damage or abuse to them. They can tell this stuff. And if there is, depends on what company it is, but if it exceeds a certain threshold, they won't sell that car under the company's name. That car is going to go to an auction, generally is where they wind up going. So if you buy from Enterprise Car Sales or Hertz Car Sales, you're actually getting the best of the best. Everything else that those companies don't want are going to go to auction and go to your independent used car lots. Some may even be sold back to dealers. It's hard to say. But absolutely, I would recommend it. But as always, do your background checks. Take the car to a mechanic. Have them check it out. And just be on the safe side. But yeah, I would actually recommend it. I wouldn't be afraid of it. I bought that 2016 Fusion I have is a car that I bought from Enterprise Car Sales, and I've had no problems with it whatsoever, except for the blower motor. And I believe that was partially my fault. So let's see here. We got another question. 1990 F-250 replaced all the shocks and the leafs are in good shape. For some reason, the front end with the twin beam axle sagging. The front wheel camber is out bad. Okay, check your wheel bearings. I had a 95 Ranger that had the exact same problem. It did all the ball joints and everything. Everything looked good, but the wheels were still doing this number. Check the wheel bearings, and maybe you've done that already. Wheel bearings, I've seen it many, many times, can cause the wheels on those Ford trucks to do this number. Check that. If that's not the case, then there's something much more serious going on with the suspension system. You're going to want to have somebody who knows what he's doing check it out. Carson asks, what vehicles do you currently own? Well, currently I own a 2016 Ford Fusion, a 2007 Ford F-150, and I have a 2003 GMC Safari. I'm not driving it at the moment. I'm kind of, I guess you could say, leasing, so to speak, the vehicle to my sister. She's out of town going to college. I basically gave the vehicle to her. She pays for the insurance, taxes, all that other stuff, maintenance and everything for it. So technically I own the vehicle, but she's the one who drives it. Okay, what about the video of my mom balancing the tires coming soon? Yes, that one is coming soon. I'm working on editing it today. It's coming soon, I promise you. It'll be out. Aloha from Hawaii. Well, thank you. Thank you. Oh boy, here we go. This will start some good questions here. We got a couple questions. The first one is an F-150 with a 3.5 or 5.0 or the Ford Econoline versus Ford Transit. Okay, good question. Seeing as I just talked about how I was wanting to buy an F-150 with a 3.5 liter EcoBoost engine in it, gosh, they're both so good. And here's the thing. That the 3.5 EcoBoost engine has really proven itself over time. The biggest problem they had with those engines were the intercoolers. The intercoolers were building up condensation in them, and then whenever you would step on the accelerator and go to accelerate onto the highway, it would push that water and oil into the combustion chambers in the engine, and it would start to misfire. It would hesitate, stumble. I've actually got a video up on YouTube of how you can fix that, and while a catch can is probably the recommended method, most people seem to prefer that, there is one way you can fix that temporarily if you're in an emergency, and I say temporarily because you can use this permanently as well. You can drill a tiny 1/16 inch hole, or 1/32 if you can find a drill bit small enough, into the bottom of the intercooler, and over time it'll push all that water and oil that accumulates in the intercooler out. Now, I've gotten a lot of pushback on that, people saying that, you shouldn't do that, you're losing boost. There's been people who have done tests to see how much boost you're actually losing. The most I've ever seen in a documentation of somebody actually looking into that, they only lost about 0.2 PSI. And on an engine that's pushing 15 pounds of boost, 0.2 is not much at all. Those turbos can easily compensate for that. So don't be afraid to drill a hole into the intercooler to solve that problem. That being said, let's go back to the original question. 5.0 versus 3.5. If you're someone who drives easy and tows every once in a while, I would say go with the 3.5 EcoBoost. I really would. Or 2.7 if you can. The 2.7 is even more fuel efficient. And if you watched the Fast Lane Trucks videos, the 2.7 can easily compete with the 3.5. They're a little bit slower, but they're much more fuel efficient. If you love the sound of a V8 and you want to do probably more towing on a regular basis, I would probably go with a 5 liter because that is an awesome engine. I'm so torn. Every time I get in one of those trucks that has an EcoBoost or the 5.0, I'm torn because I want an F-150. I want a new F-150, but for the life of me, I can't figure out which one to get. And that 5 liter is almost as fuel efficient as a 3.5 EcoBoost. So it's a toss-up. It's test drive them, figure out which one you like, and go from there because they're both great. The Econoline versus the Ford Transit. Let's see here. So there's advantages and disadvantages. I also wanted to let you guys know I'm going to have the opportunity to drive a motorhome on a 3.2 inline 5-cylinder Power Stroke diesel platform in a motorhome in March here. When my fiance and I get married, we're gonna rent one for a couple weeks and do some traveling across the country. So that will be really interesting, and I will be absolutely sure to document that for you guys. So the Transits definitely weren't as reliable right off the bat as the Econolines. The Econolines were built really heavy. They had big V8 engines in them. They were really a proven vehicle, and they're still used. They still use that 6.8 V10 in larger cutaway chassis, such as something you'll see on a shuttle bus or something like that. Again, it depends on what you're doing. Used Econolines are obviously going to be cheaper. You might have to do some more maintenance to them, but the later model Ford Transits have actually gotten better. They're going through a pretty big recall right now with drive shaft issues. But I've seen some funky issues with them, but they haven't been overall terrible. Really haven't been around long enough to see how well they actually hold up, but again, it's another toss-up. If you're looking for something that's as fuel efficient as possible, Transit by far. If you're looking for something that's rock solid, reliable, and proven, I would go with the Econoline. And, the Chevrolet Express vans are pretty good as well. So, let's see. Here's another comment. I'm from Ireland and we have mostly diesel cars, but emission regulations are starting to phase out diesels and promoting petrol and hybrids. Are hybrids a big thing over there? Oh yeah. Yeah, they are, especially in rental fleet. The Ford Fusion Hybrid has been hugely promoted in the rental car fleet lately. And, you know, they're not that bad. I like them. I was torn between a Fusion Hybrid and the Hybrid Turbo when I bought my Ford Fusion. Chevrolet came out with the Bolt. That's an all-electric vehicle. Tesla just announced their new Roadster, which is coming out in 2020, I think. Not to mention the Tesla electric semi, which is coming out in 2019. I think I got those right. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got a lot of car manufacturers that are really pursuing the electric industry, the hybrid industry, and that. Really, the only person who I haven't seen jumping on board with that is Chrysler. Chrysler, Fiat, FCA, whatever you want to call them. I haven't seen too many hybrid electric vehicles from them, but a lot of the other manufacturers are really pursuing electric and hybrid vehicles. Okay, let's see here. Is the 7.3 diesel the best engine, and 5.0 is the best engine the best gas engine made? Well, the 7.3 is definitely one of the best diesel engines ever made. Ask any diesel technician out there and they'll tell you that. They were reliable, they were loud and clattery for people who like the classic diesel sounds. They were a great engine, they were fantastic. And the 5.0 is another great engine. That being said, anything mechanical is going to have problems. And it broke my heart to see this the other day, but I had the opportunity to witness a 2018 F-150 actually drop a valve on a 5-liter V8 engine, dropped a valve and actually broke the connecting rod, and the engine finally locked up when the piston head wedged between the crankshaft and the block of the engine. That's extremely rare. Very rarely do you see that. Crazy issue, but it all comes back to the idea of if it's man-made mechanical things, you're going to have problems with it. That's just a fact of life. I mean, just the other day, I saw a Chevrolet Tahoe as well that had a cracked engine block on a 5.3 V8 with only 23,000 miles. So, you know, it's a fact of life that when you buy a vehicle, when you buy an internal combustion engine, there's a ton of moving parts in there that are going to have problems sooner or later. Sometimes it's sooner, most of the times it's later, but everything is going to have problems. But the 5.0 is a good engine. 7.3 is definitely one of the best diesel engines ever made. Okay, how do I feel about the Hemi and the 5.7 Hemi and the Rams? Great engines, lots of power. They get good fuel mileage as well. They're kind of comparable to the 5.3 liter Vortec engine in the Silverados, but I personally think they've got more power. They really don't have any mechanical problems that I've seen that you would want to be cautious and be aware of. But they're a great sounding engine. The only thing I don't like about the 5.7 Hemis and the Ram is they clatter like crazy when you start them up in the cold. They are extremely loud. I mean, you think, man, does this thing have oil pressure? Yeah, the gauge is up there, so it's just one of the things that I don't like about the engine, and I can't say for sure whether that's going to have a long time reliability effect on it or not. It's still too early to tell, but okay, 7.3 Power Stroke or 6-liter Power Stroke? What is your opinion? Well, here's the thing. The 6-liter Power Stroke engine, when bulletproofed, is an amazing engine. I'm sure you guys have heard of Power Stroke Help. You watch his videos, lots of great videos on kind of bulletproofing or overhauling 6-liter Power Stroke engines, and they are capable of a lot of power when they're fixed up. That being said, it costs a lot of money to do that. The 7.3, on the other hand, is just, you know, bulletproof, reliable. Parts are cheap. They're easy to work on. Everything is great on those engines. I really do like them. Okay. Is the 4.2 Trailblazer engine good? Yeah, it's good. It's a good engine. It's a gas hog. It doesn't have near the power of the 5.3 V8s, which was also equipped in the Trailblazers. And they're good engines. They're reliable. But they are gas hogs. Some of the common issues you'll see with those are idler pulleys for the serpentine drive belt, cracked exhaust manifolds. Some of the earlier ones did have some rod bearing issues, but they fixed that shortly after. But overall, yeah, it's a good engine. I wouldn't hesitate to buy a Trailblazer with one on it. Seen a lot of them with lots of miles that held up well. Okay, not sure if you work on Hondas a lot, but if you have you seen carbon buildup on the intake valves on their new 1.5 turbo? I've seen a lot of talk about that. I've seen people saying, make sure you do your valve cleaning jobs on those, the upper engine cleanings. I've never seen an engine actually misfire or malfunction due to carbon buildup on the valves. Maybe it's just because I haven't seen everything that's out there. I know there are concerns with direct injected engines because you don't have that fuel spraying above the intake valve cleaning it off. There's some concern there, but I've never actually had someone bring a vehicle to me or ask me about a vehicle that had that problem, that it turned out to be carbon buildup on the valves. I just haven't seen it. It's another one of those things where use high quality gasoline. Don't be afraid to get that engine or that car out on the highway and wind that engine out. Get it in the red line for a little bit. Don't abuse it, but accelerate hard. Those engines are built to run under boost and under a lot of load. So when you do that, it kind of helps clean the engine out a little bit. So I wouldn't be afraid of it. Okay, let's hear your opinion on the little 2.2 EcoTechs. My 03 Cavalier ticks when starting, but it quiets down after a few seconds. 275,000 kilometers. This is a funny coincidence because I'm getting ready to upload a video right now about a 2004 Cavalier that actually had a timing chain tensioner fail, and because of that, the valves contacted the pistons and destroyed the top of the engine. And even before that, the engine had a slight cylinder head gasket leak. It was getting some coolant in the oil. So they had problems, unfortunately. And, and here's the thing that gets me. The 2011 Malibu that I just did timing chains on, why is it that 8 years later down the road, this issue still isn't fixed? So, They can be good engines. They can be efficient little cars. But as a preventative maintenance thing, if you buy one or if you have one, what I would do is definitely redo all the timing components and put a cylinder head gasket in there. Once you get those fixed, you should be pretty good on those cars. They really don't have that many other issues. Okay. Anything I would look out for on a 5.3 with 260,000 miles? Yeah, oil pan gasket leaks. Those trucks love to leak oil, and they also burn oil too. Make absolutely sure you keep an eye on the engine oil in those trucks because valve seals, piston rings, and leaking oil pan gaskets or seals can cause the engine oil to drop on those. And you'll see some problems in that area. But water pump, check the water pump, make sure it's not leaking. Oil pressure sensors, those sometimes will make your oil pressure gauge read all the way, to the high setting or sometimes the low setting. Check that. Other than that, really not much. The 5.3s are a great engine. They're rock solid, reliable. I know lots of people with hundreds of thousands of miles on those engines. Good engines. Okay, here's one I can relate to. Have you ever had problems with the 98 Silverado misfiring? I've had some issues in the past, so I was just wondering. Yes, and as a matter of fact, we still do. You'll see this in my upcoming 250,000 mile Silverado review video that I'm getting ready to post here soon. That truck developed a misfire issue about 7-8 months ago. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Everything on the ignition side of that engine has been replaced. Unfortunately, due to the sounds that I'm starting to hear from that engine, I believe it's a compression issue that's causing the misfiring. The weird thing is, though, it's doing it under load. So if anybody has any experience out there with that same problem, let me know, because I'm also still a little unsure of what's causing the problem here. But yes, have had issues with it misfiring. Okay. Any comments on the Ford 2.7 EcoBoost in the F-150? Oh, good engines. More efficient than the 3.5 and not much less power than the 3.5 either. They run under very, very high compression. If I remember correctly, some specs I was seeing about those is they can push as much as 30 pounds of boost, which is crazy on a stock production gas engine. Let's see, they run on high compression, higher than most other gasoline engines out there. So that's how they're getting that efficiency out of them. I haven't seen any major issues with them yet. They're great trucks. They run really well. Take a look at the Fastlane truck if you want to see some towing videos and some results from them. They're pretty good. I like them. I wouldn't be afraid to get one. What is the payload of your F-150 and how much does your camper weigh? Well, honestly, I don't know what the payload is on my 2007 F-150. I'd have to Google it, I guess. But I believe that camper weighs about 10,000 pounds. So when I was towing it, I was definitely overloaded. And I'm going to be towing it again here in a couple weeks. So I'll probably make a video of that. And hopefully with this new engine here, it won't leave me stranded with no oil pressure again. Let's see. Are there any problems with the 2.7 engine in the Toyota Tacomas? Not that I know of. Nothing has really jumped out to me as being, well, this is an issue that you would want to avoid. Stay away from these trucks for this reason. Not really. Haven't seen anything there. Toyotas are rock-solid, reliable vehicles. That being said, we have seen a few water pump failures in the brand new 2018 Camrys. The funny thing about that is, though, is they never leaked. All it did was cause the check engine light to come on, and it set a code for a cooling system performance. And the repair was they replaced the water pump. So I don't know exactly what's causing those. Maybe it's going to be just a reprogramming issue, which is reprogramming modules fixes about 90% of the problems on cars these days for more modern vehicles. Okay, let's see what's next here. Are Honda CVT transmissions any good? Yeah, they're good. I haven't seen any problems with them. I don't have much experience with Honda CVT transmissions, but from what I've seen and people who do own them, they're pretty good. So I wouldn't be afraid of it. Okay, are there any problems in the 4-liter in the Jeep Wrangler 1998? Oh, a great engine. Those inline 6 engines were bulletproof. You'll maybe do a water pump, but great engines, very reliable. How difficult is changing the timing belt on the 2006 to 2000 Toyota Tundra 4.7? Pretty easy. I did one. I've got a video of it on my channel. I think it's entitled Toyota Tundra Water Pump Failure, and I did the timing belt while I was at it. Easy. If you've got basic mechanical knowledge, you shouldn't have any problems. I'd go for it. Get yourself one of those repair manuals, or find a step-by-step do-it-yourself video on YouTube to help you out. Okay, Dan, what do you think I should worry about in my 2011 Chevy Cruze with a 1.4 turbo engine? Water pumps. Water pumps on those engines leaked a lot. And oil levels. Make sure that you always keep your engine oil clean. Those turbochargers are lubricated with engine oil, just like what lubricates the bearings in the engine. Make absolutely sure that you keep that oil changed on time. I would change it every 5,000 miles personally, but keep an eye on your water pumps as well. Those water pumps like to leak. But other than that, good engines. Not the most efficient little things, which is why they were replaced with the second gen 1.4 and 1.5 engines, but don't even get me started on those 1.5 and second gen 1.4 turbocharged engines in the Chevrolet Malibu and the Cruze. They're just terrible. I can't tell you how many of them I've seen with melted pistons, cracked pistons, engines replaced at 30,000 miles. Wait until they figure that problem out before you buy one of those cars. It's bad. What do I think of the 2.4 and the PT Cruisers or Chrysler 2.7 thoughts? Honestly, I would avoid them. The 2.4 liters had a lot of issues, and when I had one apart, I saw a lot of abnormal engine wear on one, even though it was maintained well. And the 2.7s also had a lot of issues with engine sludge. So if you do have one, make sure you're changing that oil at least every 5,000. Probably better to go every 3,000 so you don't get any sludge issues. What is my opinion on the 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra 1.8? Great cars. Reliable, fuel efficient. Again, it's one of the newer Hyundais as they started to make things better. I'd get one. I wouldn't have any problems with it. Keep in mind, though, that when you buy a Hyundai or a Kia and they advertise that 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty, that is only valid for the original owner. Keep that in mind. Any issues with the 2009 Fusion losing power? My sister's car does that, but the dealership can't find anything with the wiring. Yes, throttle bodies were a problem on those. The Ford Fusions had issues, all the way up to like 2015, I think it was, with the throttle bodies sticking on those cars. And when it did that, whenever the throttle body would stick or the sensor would go bad, it would go into limp mode. And you'd have low power, probably couldn't do any more than 5-10 miles an hour. Have the throttle body checked. I bet you it's a throttle body. I had to do it on my 2008 Fusion. Would I ever buy another Ford Excursion? Oh yes, definitely. Those things are collector's items, especially with the 7.3 diesel engine in them. If you want to get one and you can find one with a 7.3 diesel engine for a good price, get it. Okay. Best Ford Ranger engine? 4-liter V6. 4-liter V6. That's what I'd go with. What's my opinion on the 1-liter EcoBoost? The 1-liter EcoBoost, honestly, I really can't share my opinion on it because I don't have one, because I've never done anything with a 1-liter EcoBoost. From what I've heard, they're very efficient and they're powerful little engines. Again, that's just what I've heard, so I'd look into it. It probably wouldn't be a bad engine. Okay, let's see. I apologize, I'm not answering everyone's questions here. I'm trying to answer the ones that I can relate to the most here. Okay, what are we going to answer next here? How's my Fusion doing? It's doing well. Like I said earlier, the only thing I've had to do to it is a blower motor, and I think that was my fault for running the AC on high, pulling in outside air. We're going through car washes, so the moisture took out the blower motor bearings. What do I think of the old body style Ford trucks? Oh, I love them. Especially the 95, 96, and 97. Man, those were great trucks. I love the way they looked. They were built well. They're just awesome trucks. Absolutely loved them. Would I buy a salvage car? Yeah, I would. Again, it depends on what it was salvaged for. For example, if you have a vehicle that's been struck by lightning or salvage title due to flooding, be very, very careful. But the reason why I would buy a salvage car is because cars total out so easily these days if they're involved in even a minor accident, because they're so expensive to fix. So, for example, the 97 Grand Marquis that my sister's driving, nothing wrong with the car. It's in perfect shape title-wise, but it has a salvage title due to hail damage. It was the same thing with the 92 Camry that we had, and then sold it a little while. I shed a tear when that car went away. That was a good car. But that had a salvage title as well after being involved in an accident and being totaled out. We just put a new bumper cover on it, straightened a few headlamp assemblies out, and it was good to go. So look into it and find out why the car has a salvage title. Okay, what is my opinion on the 2018 rounds of GM cars? Sorry guys, but stay away. Unfortunately, I've seen lots and lots of problems with the 2018 year models for GMs. I mean, even the Tahoes and the Silverados, I've seen 3 issues with 5.3s having cracked blocks. Can't tell you how many times I've seen the 1.5 and 1.4 liter turbo engines with cracked pistons. Again, let them work the issues out on these cars first. It's new. I think what's going on here is they're trying to squeeze as much fuel mileage out of these engines as they possibly can, so they're running them lean. And when you run them lean, you generate more heat. And I think that's what's going on with these engines, why they're experiencing issues. So again, I'm not saying don't ever buy a GM. Wait until they figure the issues out. And over time, we'll start to see, the engines improve. It seems like around 2015, 2016 is when things were kind of at their peak, and then when 17 and 18 hit, they started to encounter some problems. Okay, do I still have the $100 Corolla? Well, that was actually a Camry, and no, I don't have it anymore. I sold that a long time ago. Okay. Let's see, I'll have time for a few more questions here, and then I've actually got to go, work on a Chevrolet Aveo 2011. We're doing a timing belt, water pump, and a couple tires, a few other things on that. So more explanation on that later. All right. Let's see. A few more questions here. How's the Yukon XL doing? I'm the original owner of an 05 Sierra that now has 338,000 miles and still going strong. Well, it's doing great. He told me the check engine light came on not too long ago, but he hasn't encountered any drivability issues, so I'm guessing it's probably just an evap issue. They had some problems with the vent valves on those cars setting check engine lights, but to the best of my knowledge, it's doing great. Oh, here we go. Wow, you've been subscribed for a long time. Eric W. says, I've been a subscriber of yours since that Chevy Lumina boat hauler. Where did that car end up? I have no clue. One of my most popular videos out there, and definitely one of the most unique things I've ever seen. I have no idea where it's at right now. I don't even live in that area of the city anymore. I'm sure we can find it. I'm not exactly sure where it's at, to be honest with you. I wish I did, because that thing was cool. What's my opinion on the 2018 Traverse? Well, they look great. They definitely did a good job with the exterior of that vehicle, and the powertrain in that vehicle seems to have been ironed out pretty well. They are putting a ton of power out of that 3.6 liter V6 engine, and those things really scream. They got a lot of power. Again, it's another one of those things where it's a brand new body style. I probably wait a little bit and let fleets get some miles on them and see what happens. See if any common issues come up. But just like anything that's brand new, wait it out unless you plan on selling the car after the warranty expires. Okay. What is your opinion on the 2018 Chevy Equinox? Well, unfortunately, it has the 1.5 liter turbocharged engine in it that also has the similar problems that they had in the Malibus. Also, we've seen a few issues with those vehicles getting condensation built up in the intercoolers. And because of that, they're running into the same issues that Ford had with their F-150. When you stomp on the accelerator, it pushes condensation and oil into the combustion chambers and causes it to misfire. The latest bulletin I saw from General Motors on that was there's no fix for it at the current time. Wait on, don't do any repairs to the vehicle because they don't have a fix for it yet. So again, like I've been saying before, wait on it until they iron out the bugs. But other than that, it's a sharp looking car. Good car. Okay, how about the 6-speed transmission in my 2011 Cruze? What do you feel about those trannies? The fluid gets dark too quick, and why? Well, actually, the reason that fluid is dark is because it has a rust inhibitor in the fluid. I remember when I was working at the Chevrolet dealer, we had a 2011 Cruze that had a transmission problem. It only had like 3,000 miles on it. And when we took a look at the transmission fluid, it was very dark. So we thought, well, this thing's got to have burnt up clutches. Turns out that's not the case. The reason the fluid looks dark is because it has a rust inhibitor in it. So that is normal for the fluid to look dark. They did have problems with shift solenoids. Typically what I'd see a lot of is shift solenoid pack replacements. It's actually pretty easy to do. You just take the front cover of the transmission off, and then they sell the solenoid pack as an entire kit. It comes with all 6 of them. Other than that, decent transmissions. There is one thing to watch for, and that's torque converter seal leaks. I've seen those transmissions leak fluid from the torque converters, but most of them were covered under warranty. Okay, let's go for one more question here, and then I'm going to have to get to work. I really appreciate all your guys' feedback. This is awesome. Great kickoff to the first ever live stream. What are my thoughts on a rear-engine Corvette? Oh, that's a good question. You know, it almost seems like they're following in line with like the Porsche engines that were, or the Porsche vehicles that were rear-wheel drive. Only time will tell. I mean, it makes sense to get more weight over the back end of the car for better acceleration. I don't know very much on the Chevrolet Corvettes, but I'm always open to new ideas and changes, so I think it'll be cool to see how they perform on the track. I'm excited for it. It's something new. It's going to be something different, so I say bring it on and let's see how it does. So, well, that does it for me, guys. 42 minutes here. Wow, that flew by very quickly. I'm going to try to do this every week on Saturdays, I think. Appreciate the feedback and the comments from everyone. Again, I wish I could get to everyone's comments and questions, but I try to answer the ones that I can relate to the most so I can give accurate information to you guys. So, thank you guys for tuning in and for watching. More videos to come here soon. I'm going to go get started on that Chevrolet Aveo that's out in my garage and replace the timing belt, water pump, and all that good stuff on it. So I'll see some videos of that. I'll catch you guys next time. Have yourself a wonderful December. What is it? The 2nd? The 3rd? I can't even keep track anymore. It is December the 2nd. So hope you guys have a great day. I'll catch you next time. We'll see ya.